North and South Seafood and Smokehouse presents The Kelly Sheffield Show on 100.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand. Alongside Wisconsin Badgers volleyball head coach Kelly Sheffield, here's Jon Audius.
Welcome in. It is the Kelly Sheffield Show. Thanks for tuning in. Jon Audius here with the Badgers head volleyball coach as we take a look back at this past weekend at the Fieldhouse, take a look forward to Big Ten play. Plus, yes, we'll answer some fan questions as well. But, Coach, welcome in to the show. How's it going?
It's going well, but not nearly as good as it was the last show when we were at North and South Seafood and Smokehouse. I really enjoyed that, and the brisket there a little bit better than here in the office. But it's good. We're about ready to head out to Minnesota here soon.
Yeah, I missed the burnt ends for sure. But thanks to North and South Seafood and Smokehouse, that's absolutely a great place to go check out in Verona. And we'll be back there. I'm sure we'll be back there. And we'll let everybody who's listening know how they can get out and head out there and join us as well. But you're coming off of a sweep of Texas A&M, a team that was previously undefeated, a team that you said in our pregame interview that you thought could make the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. And technically it's not a top 25 win, but man, it kind of seems like it is a top 25 team.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a team that's going to continue to get better. Obviously they've rolled through their non-conference up to us. And, I think that'll probably end up being one of the better teams in the SEC.
Yeah, it's I think you called them a good blocking, serving, and passing team. They just do it all, and your team was able to get it done in 3.
Yeah. It's they've been handling a lot of people's serves, blocking. They've been, statistically one of the better blocking teams in the country. Sometimes stats and what you see on film don't really match up too well, but we felt they were a really solid blocking team in a lot of different places, and I think they only got 3 blocks against us. We're not typically a team that gets blocked a lot. Frank, our pin hitters, Frank and Orzel and Anna, those guys do a really good job of getting up and getting into space, but 3 is pretty low against that type of blocking team.
Now, I thought that the second set for fans watching was super exciting, right? You fight off, I think it was 5 set points from A&M, and then you have a wild sequence. For those watching watching this on YouTube, rather, I'm going to play one of the most wild sequences was Sarah Franklin when she was able to get a kill off a dig. I mean, we talk about Franklin and everything she can do, but here's that sequence right now. Kelly and I are watching it online. Is Franklin got the dig. Getting the swing. And that lands. That was 28-28 in set number 2, Kelly. And then you guys are able to get that overpass. And then she gets a serve that goes off the top of the net and flops over. Just a wild way to end a set.
Yeah, it is. It's frustrating when you're on the other side of it. And we've been in there as well. It's a lot of luck on both of those, but a lot of effort. She fought, she really pushed to try to get underneath that ball, was able to get underneath a pretty hard swing, and you needed every inch of that court for that sucker to drop in. The net thing is pretty funny on the serve, because it's something we talk about as a program. Is you can't, those are great examples of you can't get angry when there's a missed serve that hits the top of the net and drops on your side if you're going to celebrate one that clips the top of the net and drops over, all based on the tension of the net, and maybe humidity and air currents and things like that. And it's sports.
I think Yulia Ojo is 98 to 99% healthy. She says 99%. How has her return to almost full health impacted the team's performance? Because she's just continues to put up some double figures now offensively.
Yeah, I mean, she's an experienced player. She's very skilled, has a lot of guts to her. No fear, and so it's that experience is a big deal to us. And she's playing well, and and working hard. She's been really, really big for us and was huge that match for us.
Yeah, and what can you say about her shot selection? I know you guys, after the A&M match, talked about the different types of shots, and we always compliment Sarah Franklin because she obviously has a whole bunch of different tools in her tool belt that she can use, or shots in her tool belt, or whatever. But Yulia Ojo also has that craftiness with her game too.
Yeah. I mean, she works at it. She's worked at being really good pass to attacker and being able to work the courts. Her and Brittany have spent a lot of time together. She's more than just a passer. Yeah, I mean, she's actually, I think, hitting higher than what Sarah is. Now, she didn't really hit against some of those elite teams that we played out of the gate. But she's elevating well, and she's working the court. She's seeing the block. She's, early on in her career, really early, I don't think she saw the block and certainly wasn't intimidated by it, and would just hit as hard as she could into it, and a lot of times in the meet. And then there became a period of time where she tried to avoid the block at all costs and did a lot of tipping. And right now she's seeing how the block can be used for good rather than evil, and going after the edges of it and working some off speed and getting into some different areas of the court rather than just trying to pull down, attacking a weaker blocker rather than going after a bigger blocker. So she's getting a lot smarter, and Charlie's understanding where she needs to put the ball. And those can be a little bit different types of balls that both of our pin hitters are attacking.
Talking with Wisconsin head coach Kelly Sheffield. This is the Kelly Sheffield Show. Another thing you said that I wanted to dig a little bit deeper in was, you talked about how important patience is throughout the course of a match, where if you don't panic, you can play cleaner volleyball. How do you get to a good level of patience? And if that breaks down, like, how do you maintain that? How do you stay in that flow?
Yeah. Patience is going to be really important when we play Minnesota as well. Certain defensive teams, certain blocking teams, because you can get really frustrated. You can get frustrated with their serves or the way that our team's passing. You can get frustrated that that rallies are extended and or they're taking away your favorite shots or your top two shots. Setters can get frustrated, and sometimes you've got to repeat as a setter. You got to repeat to a hitter that just made an error. If you're always going away from them, then that makes it easier on the defense. If you're always changing a play, it's hard to find a rhythm to that. If you're always repeating to a hitter that has an error, then it's the blocking team is going to understand those tendencies as well. And the attackers, if they're taking away what you're wanting to do, then can you go into other areas of the court? And it's one of the reasons why we don't get too frustrated at the beginning of matches, because it takes a little bit of time to see how a team is wanting to defend against you. There's a lot of, are the blockers, is the middle blocker staying neutral? Are they shifting to the pass? Are they shifting to the quick hitter? Are they shifting to the hot hitter? Is there help that is coming from the pin blockers towards a middle? And if they are they late to recover for a line shot? Are they ignoring the person that is passed to attack? What is the back court doing? And so it takes a little bit of time to get a read on how a team is defending against you. And one of the things we try to get our attackers to understand, and us as coaches need to be able to help them with that, is sometimes you understand 4 or 5 swings into it, how a team is wanting to defend you. And, and just because you got stuffed or they dug you, can you take a mental picture of where they were instead of just getting emotional about it and learn from it? But then you also have teams that will play a certain way defensively for the first 20 points of a set. And then once they get into the red zone, they play a different way. and you got to know that about them as well. And so experience really helps. Experience as an attacker, what Julia has, really helps her vision and her being able to stay calm and to be able to read what's happening out there.
All right. When we come back on the Kelly Sheffield Show, I do want to talk about challenges, because fans who were out at the field house against A&M saw 7 challenges, and it took a bunch of time. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about the Minnesota match coming up tonight. And hey, there was volleyball over the weekend on ABC. I want to get your thoughts on that too. So keep it right here. More of the Kelly Sheffield Show coming up next. And welcome back. This is the Kelly Sheffield Show. Jon Audius with the Badgers head coach, talking about the Big Ten opener coming up against Minnesota. I want to get your thoughts on that. That comes your way here tonight, right here on ESPN Madison. But let's go back to reviews, because I think Badger fans were impatient. Maybe some were frustrated. I don't know how you felt personally, but I listened back to the broadcast, and I went from the whistle when the first, when the challenge was being initiated, and there were 7 challenges against A&M. Yeah. I listened back to the broadcast, and in all, I got about 14 minutes worth of downtime and challenges. One took like 4.5 minutes plus.
Yeah.
Where do you feel on those challenges, and what can be done? I mean, I don't know of any ways to eliminate that unless you just change the equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. It's I fired off an email after that match. And the challenge system is great. If you think about those 7 challenges, 4 of them were overturned. And one of the others should have been overturned, but apparently there's a camera malfunction. I don't understand how that camera malfunctioned, because it is a stationary camera that we have in there all the time. But apparently it did. And so that's what you're wanting with the challenges. Ultimately, the goal is to get it right. And 4 of those, essentially 5 of the 7 were would have been flipped, and so that's a really good thing. We are contractually using a company, the entire conference, not just volleyball, but other sports as well, and it has been really good for all of the sports. There is sense technology that is out there that we utilize out in Louisville, as you know, that gets it instantaneously. I mean, almost 0 delay. And you see it in some sports like, tennis and things. It's really nice, and it keeps things moving. And hopefully we'll be able to get to that at some point. I know the SEC this year is going with a different company that should be a lot quicker than what we have. But, we're under contract for, I think, a couple more years as a conference. But you can't have, you said 14 minutes or so. I timed it at 18:38 for an average of 3 minutes and 3 seconds. And that was from when the official called the end of the one play and beckoned for the serve after the challenge. And it's too long. It's just too long. And so what I would love to see, hopefully we're able to change companies at some point. But I also think we need to make some adjustments to our timeouts. It's right now we've got 1 technical timeout per set. I'd like to see us go to 2 technical timeouts per set, however long TV wants it. And then each coach gets 1 timeout during a set. And that timeout be 45 seconds rather than 90 or 75. And so the maximum timeouts that you would get in that scenario would be 4 per set. Right now we can get 5. It's better for TV having 2 technical timeouts. Those would be the only time they'd break for a commercial, but they would know exactly when that would come. And I think that would be good for our sport. Right now, we have 5 timeouts in the 5th set, a technical, and each team has 2. We do not need 5 timeouts, and almost all 5 of them are being taken the second half of the set. It's just, so I would say you have 1 technical timeout. Each team, again, gets 1, and you bring that from 5 to a max of 3. I think those would be smart low-hanging fruit types of items that I think TV would embrace and I think our fans would like.
Speaking of television, college volleyball was featured on ABC this weekend. I know you've talked about the coverage that TV has had throughout the last several years.
Yeah.
How do you like the coverage so far you've seen in 2024? And I'm speaking, I guess, specifically of the network coverage, because you guys were on Fox earlier this year, and then ABC, obviously had their match this weekend.
Yeah, I think they're learning. I think the production crews are learning and how to blow it up in a positive way and present it well and get the cameras where you want them and things. It's still a work in progress for some of these places that versus other networks that have been doing hundreds and hundreds of these broadcasts over many years. But it's awesome to get in front of those platforms, to get in front of those viewers. And, NBC has been doing it, this year. ABC just had their first one, Fox the past couple of years. I have no idea what the problem is with CBS or TNT or CW network, but, hopefully some of these other networks will jump in as well. But I've got to feel like the viewership numbers are great. We're heading in the right direction. It's so exciting.
All right. When we come back, I will ask you about the Golden Gophers, in which you open conference play tonight. Plus, I've got some fan questions too. Keep it right here on the Kelly Sheffield Show. Welcome back to the Kelly Sheffield Show. John Audius with the Badgers head coach. Wisconsin getting set for a top 25 match to start Big Ten play against the Gophers. I've got some fan questions I want to get to, but first, Kelly, what type of a Gophers team are you going to be facing here tonight? It's a team that obviously had a huge win earlier in the year in Milwaukee against Texas, and then I followed that up with a couple of top 25 losses.
Well, it's year two of Keegan, and I think there's probably a better understanding of him knowing his players and the players understanding him. They're playing with probably a better team spirits than what they did last year. There's certainly a little bit more joy, competitiveness. It's an elite serving team, probably one of the best serving teams in the country. Defensively, they're very, very good, very, very solid. They've got a lot of weapons, very experienced all over the place. I mean, Shaftmaster's one of the most experienced setters in the country. They've got a fifth year opposite, experience in the middles. Both are outsides. All three of their outsides, because they're kind of rotating all three of them. Very explosive, very quick off the ground. A new bro, she played DS for him last year. Seems a little bit more settled than probably what she did a year ago. Very, very, very good team.
Okay. Let's get some fan questions in here. I posted this at JONARIAS Radio on X earlier this week. Chantel says hi from Australia and asks, is there a funny story from practice this week? I know last week y'all were dancing to the 21st of September. And then can you explain more about the challenges of setting and the different players needing different tempos for their sets?
I'm not sure I could put my finger on something funny happened this week. That's a daily thing with this group. Let me see here. Different tempos. Yeah,
Is there a challenge with that?
It's obviously Anna on a back set is going to be a lot higher, a little loopier than Devin. Devin's going to run a little bit quicker back behind off of 2 feet than what Anna would. Orzel, we tend to leave her set in a little bit more than Frank's set, just kind of a preferred deal. When you're running a quick to CC, that is going to be a different type of quick than what you are to Carter or Anna. So there can be different heights and different different arcs and differences where you're leaving the ball along the net according to the attacker. And that's one of the things that we expect our offense to continue to get better as our brand new setters kind of get a feel for our hitters.
All right. This is from Tiff on Twitter. And obviously you still do mindfulness with the team with Chad, but She wants to know more, I guess, about that, about the protocols and practices in place around the mindset or mindfulness to keep your team mentally strong and balanced throughout the season. How has that kind of evolved, and where are we at in 2024 with mindfulness in the Badgers?
It's really, really important. It's not just for volleyball, it's for life. And it's something that we're all bought in on. And Chad McGahee does a great job. Only full-time, as far as I know, the only full-time mindfulness coach in Division I athletics, and certainly works really close with our team year-round. He travels with us sometimes he doesn't. Sometimes he's at practices. Yeah, I mean, it's a life skill. We take it very seriously. We're very fortunate to be able to have him working with us.
Final question for you. Let's see here. Who should I pick? Do you want to talk about putting different players at outside hitter, or do you want to talk about Anna? You get to choose your own adventure.
I don't know. Let's go with Anna.
Okay. Jeff is wondering why Anna isn't playing middle. Just thinks that maybe on the outside she's a little bit slower and could impact the match, I guess, more on the middle is his thinking.
I would probably say her professionally, I would guess she's probably going to go to the middle. Okay. Because I think with her length and how her body is, I think it's going to be tough for her to play 6 rotations as long as the seasons are, playing the back row and everything that you've got to do with that. I think that's going to take kind of a little bit of a toll. We've used her as kind of a hybrid situation, running some quicks, hitting high balls behind, always being able to get her in system, out of system. Her blocking mostly is over on the right, but there's sometimes she's blocking in the middle. It's been a little bit more of the personnel that's around her and what has made sense. Great question, though.
All right. Once again, at JONARIAS Radio, we'll do this on a weekly occurrence where you can send some questions into Coach Sheffield. Coach, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you again next week. Meanwhile, we've got Badgers versus Gophers. The Big Ten season starts next right here on ESPN Madison. Thanks for listening to the Kelly Sheffield Show.